Okay, world. In addition to farming, I am a science teacher, and one of the classes I teach is earth science. And every year, we take the students in earth science, the 8th graders, on a field trip where we tour the valley where we are from, the Gem Valley. And it's a wonderful field trip brought to us by Deanne and Craig McGregor. Many people participate. And it's a way where we start in the northernmost part of the valley and work our way south, where we see some of the sights. So this video is to show you guys what the field trip's like. So I hope you enjoy.
So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take what you've learned all year, and we're going to show you examples of it. Okay? And a little history from the valley and some cool things that you've driven by, and you go, I didn't know that's what that was. I just thought it was dirt.
Hey, what's your thoughts going into the field trip?
I don't know.
Are you excited?
Fun.
There, say it louder.
It's gonna be fun.
What's your thoughts going into the field trip?
I have no thoughts.
You have no thoughts?
No.
Typical 8th grader.
I feel that I'm gonna have an exciting time today.
Morgan, are you ready for today? Tell the camera what you brought, just in case.
I brought my whole hunting pack. It has like toilet paper, binoculars, a poncho, fire starters, 2 first aid kits, gloves, hand sanitizer, bug spray, everything under the sun. So.
Okay, so if the bus breaks down, you are going to be our person of interest.
Yes.
All right. Hi, Anna.
Hi.
It's a beautiful place, so many interesting things, and sometimes we go and don't pay attention to the world around us. And hopefully this trip will help students make some connections when they study in the classroom to what's outside, good things that are hard to see.
I think that one of the reasons we're going is because of tradition. It's tradition. This is a trip that's we've been doing this for as long as I've been doing it. Me too. That makes great tradition. And I eat.
Down there?
See, we here at Grace High School like to allow people the freedoms to enjoy themselves, to see nature as it is. And when she says, can I go down there, the answer is no.
Hi.
You excited to be here?
Yeah.
Good. Have you learned anything new today?
Yeah.
What?
That the river goes west. I thought it went south.
Well, it does now, but it used to go west.
Never mind. I got that wrong.
Which means if it didn't, the Great Salt Lake would just be a desert.
Oh. Well, I knew.
You learned another new thing today. All right, guys, tell me what you've learned here.
Stuff. Not to fall off the cliff, it's too high.
Well, I mean, in this little kiosk here.
We just barely got here.
Oh, you did?
It was
Well, let's
Beer
turn it back
Springs
together.
at first.
Oh. Soda used to be called what?
Beer Springs.
Beer Springs, wow. Makes you wonder why they changed the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
We got some information about Fort Hall, the Hudspeth Cutoff. If you don't know what that is, you can look it up. Sheep Rock, very famous geologic formation. Talking about the history of the Oregon Trail. And there we have right there, the Oregon Trail.
So this marker commemorates it's a monument for a massacre in 1860 of 16 men, women, and children.
Ooh, where did it happen?
It happened a mile southwest of here.
Yes, just over there. And if you go over there, you can still see the boxcar grave where they were buried. It's still there. We're not going to do it today, but you can actually go over and explore. Find it. We're now going to show how awesome Mr. Hatch is as a history teacher, because here we are looking at the memorial of William Henry Harrison, who died on the Oregon Trail, and then these guys said, go.
So it's a different William Henry Harrison, this Henry Harrison, or William Henry Harrison.
Who did you think it was at first?
Like the president that was only president for 30 days. 31 days. Because he was elected and everyone was like, he's so old, he's not going to be a good president. And so he's like, also then, so he takes off his coat in the middle of the rainstorm and gets sick and dies.
Really? Wow.
2 hours.
Yeah,
See?
you know why?
2 hours
Because he was too freaking old.
Most people don't even know who that president was, and here you guys are, just showing off your history skills.
Yep.
Like a nice butte.
Actually, Mr. Hubbard, it's the dormant volcano.
The dormant volcano, Mr. Hubbard.
That moment when you realize your 8th graders know more than you do.
It's a canoe.
So this is Cinder Knoll. You can see there's the edge of the volcano.
Here's this one.
Does anybody know what kind of volcano this is?
It's like,
What's the middle one called?
it's not the one that has, it's not very tall, it's like
It goes shield something.
Yeah.
There's a clue in the name. This is called Cinder Knoll.
It's a cinder cone, yeah.
Cinder cone, right. How can you tell?
Well, cone shaped. Well, it's also,
And there's cinders!
and it's also not a very steep one.
We can sit down there, right?
The other thing you notice, check out on the other side. There's layers. You see all those layers on the top?
They've been built up by ash and lava.
It didn't get built up by ash and lava, right? Right. Well, there's layers of rock, a lot of cinders piled on top of each other, forming those layers. And then erosion and movement cause that to happen.
This spot right here called Alexander, Idaho, is a strange thing for wind because you have the valley coming from the east, you have the valley out this way, and the valley from the south. And for some strange reason, the wind blows a lot right here. Well, wind has a little effect on temperature. And a few years ago, when no one could grow corn in this area, the Jorgensen family discovered that there was a little spot right over here where the prevailing winds controlled the temperature. And they started planting corn right over here. And people said, it'll freeze, you can't grow corn out here. Well, soon they had some huge fields of good corn because the prevailing winds tempered the climate a little bit right there. But it changed the temperature just enough that their corn could survive. From right here, you get to see the effects of volcanic activity. We're standing on rocks that are classified in the which group? Igneous group. These are lavas, basalts, cinders, whatever you want to call it. They all mean about the same thing. It's stuff that comes out of volcanoes. There are lots of kinds of volcanoes. There's the kind that blows up way up and builds big mountains. There's the kind that kind of, like when you got dough in your hands and you squeeze it, and it starts to ooze out, and it just kind of comes out of the ground. And most of the volcanoes around here are like that. They are volcanoes that maybe didn't try to build big mountains, although they built some little ones. And you can see the layers of the materials that were deposited on them. So from this vantage point, you can see the three major rock families: igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic. And the mountains have a unique shape. Most of the mountains on the east are shaped like this. They come up from the east and drop off sharp on the west faces of them. Notice these mountains over here. They're sloped on the east side. They come up to a point and drop off sharply into this valley, because this valley is sitting right on a fault line. And those mountains were thrust up at some point in geologic time.
We're at Last Chance Canal.
Why is it called Last Chance?
because people die here. It's because it was the farmer's last chance to get water to their crops.
Oh, so what are we looking at right now? What's that over there?
The flume.
Robert, that's what you jump in.
Let's go walk to it.
There is a last chance flume.
Wait, where's my paper?
We're legally obligated to tell you not to float down it.
Good morning. Most of you know me. My name's Mark Gibbs. I have served as the president of the Last Chance Canal Company for about 25 years. I've been involved in the Last Chance Canal ever since I came back to the farm full-time in 1970. One of the real good resources for the Last Chance is this book by Max McCarthy. It's entitled The Last Chance Canal Company. Obviously, the Mormons, y'all are aware, arrived in Salt Lake in 1847, and they arrived on July 24th. They diverted water out of City Creek, which is literally in downtown Salt Lake, plowed fields and planted crops on July 25th of the year they arrived. They obviously colonized and moved north from Salt Lake, and as they came up the valley, obviously Franklin was the first city in Idaho. It was established in 1860, and they were supposed to be in Utah, but they didn't have very sophisticated instruments, and ended up in Idaho by about 3/4 of a mile. So that's Idaho's oldest town. They continued to move on north, and they got into Lego, and then they got into this valley, and they had trouble crossing the river up here because of this canyon you can see. So anyway, from the importance of the water in Salt Lake and irrigating crops, they obviously could tell that this was very fertile soil from the sagebrush and whatnot that was here, and that they could make a tremendous investment and improve the life, the quality of life substantially by irrigation. So a guy named John Trappett started talking about irrigating the valley in 1896, and he got a group of 16 individuals, and they came up with a plan and an idea. They started, and in 1897, the Last Chance Canal Company LTD, or Limited, was established and incorporated. They incorporated in 1897, and under the laws that still exist today, after you file for a water right, you have 5 years to prove up on the water right or you lose it. So they had built this wooden flume around the hill, and it collapsed, and 2 or 3 things happened, and they couldn't get the water out onto the valley. They were about to lose their water right, and so in March of 2008, no, in March of 1902, 5 years after the filing, they actually came up with horses and Fresno scrapers and moved snow and made banks out of snow, and actually flowed water through the out of the river onto the ground, and it was in order to meet this applying water to the land statute to improve their water right. So this was indeed assumed to be the last chance they had to develop the water right. So that's where the name supposedly came from, of Last Chance.
Just blow
the
it up.
Last Chance Tunnel was built by Morse and Knudsen. Morse and Knudsen bid $16.94 per foot to build the tunnel. $16.94 per foot. The tunnel is 1,700 feet long. The total cost of the tunnel was about $24,000.
Oh, bad.
They started in 1917 and they finished in 1920 with a crew on each end, and built that tunnel through solid rock. So then they put the arch in that's out here in the cement, and they had a wooden structure going across there, and that was in the 1920s. Obviously it gave them some trouble, and so in 1947, this flume you see across there today, this metal structure, was added in 1947. What's significant about that is we've done almost zero maintenance to that. We have lined the canal. It got fairly thin. We've lined it with some material on the inside of the flume. But this year, as you can see over here on the south end of the arch, you can see that pillar right at the end of the arch, and that brace going down. There's 4 legs on that. That cement was deteriorating, so we literally, the canal company has just recently finished in the last 2 weeks putting that encasement around there and reinforcing those legs to support that structure. Now, this current flume looks like it is sitting on the arch. It does not use the arch in any way for support, but the old timers wanted to leave the arch in there as a landmark from the early pioneers.
Tell me, what did you learn about Last Chance Canal Company today?
Well, it costs a lot of money.
It does cost a lot of money.
And it takes us a lot of maintenance.
And what?
It takes us a lot of maintenance.
Okay.
Out of this crew, this is a good one.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So it's obviously called Black Canyon because, well, you can see the black basalt, the lava rock that formed some 10,000 years ago. And there's 4 distinct lava flows. And in between the top layer and the next one down, you'll see where everything's kind of green. You can see the water down there. That's where the springs come out. So that's what makes this a good place for a fish farm, is the water. So we run about 15,000 gallons per minute of spring water right out of the ground. So good, fresh, clean water. That's enough to run a city of, probably 100,000 or more people. So we got an incredible water source, and it grows fish. The water temp's right about 50, 52 degrees, which is good for trout. It's kind of on the cold end, but it's great for producing brood stock and eggs, so we do a lot of that. So out of this facility, we raise about 140,000 pounds of rainbow trout a year, and we sell them live. We ship them all over the western U.S., Colorado, Nevada, Wyoming, Montana, obviously Idaho, Utah. So we get around. Most of it's for recreation, all livestock, and for people to go fishing. So yeah. What's that?
I like it.
I like you.
We're here at the ice caves, and as you can see from my family resemblance, that's my great-grandma.
Oh, she's pretty cute.
We don't know what happened to me. So my great-grandma was the daughter of a Dalton, and he was relatives of the famous Dalton gang, actually. You guys should look it up. They homesteaded this land here, and they used the ice caves that we're about to go down into to store their food in the hot summer months. And back in those times, she was born in the 1800s. Back in those times, they had to get water from the Bear River. Pretty amazing stuff. So anyway, this is some information about her, and if you haven't been to the ice cave, you should definitely go. Here we are walking into the mouth of the ice caves. Lily's my companion. Did you raise your hand, Lily? Have you been here before?
Yes, I have.
All right.
For Ellie's birthday.
Oh, going down to the ice caves to meet Batman for her birthday. That's fun. I'll try and keep the camera steady so it's not like Jason Bourne.
Vanessa's claustrophobic.
You're claustrophobic?
My aunt tiny bit.
Let's go all the way to the end where you gotta crawl.
Vanessa, grab the railing. I'm scared to get into more good caves. Like, I can't even go. At least they're bright enough.
Oh, it's getting kind of dark.
Because teenagers used to like have animal sacrifices down here.
I have heard some stuff like that.
Yeah, teenagers used to just come down here and slay animals and attempt to sacrifice them.
Oh, yes.
Have a coat.
We can see the formations on the walls here. You can see clear to the end where the kids are, and that's about as far as they're gonna permitted to go.
This is your chance to get on camera, guys. Give him a nice face. There you go, Hector, sponsored by Monster today. Titan did a weird move.
Okay, now here we are at Shane Hamilton's house down in Mound Valley, and we're gonna trek up his mountainside. Yeah, that's right. More hiking. Brings me joy. Not really. But Mr. McGregor says that at the top there's a geographic anomaly that you'll just never expect would be there. So, we'll pick up when we get there. Okay, we're about 3/4 of the way up, and I beat some people, which makes me happy. Of course, in their defense, they were trying to do the grapevine up the hill, and I was just trying to walk. Okay, we're at the top. Did you guys make it okay?
Yes.
Yes? Rock's dying. Hector?
I sponsor beats, but not sponsored at the same time.
Oh. Hey, do you guys know what this weird anomaly is that we're going to see? This weird thing?
Natural hotspots? Hi, I'm Isaac.
Hi, Isaac. Do you know what we're going to see today, Isaac?
Some mountains.
Do you have any idea what we're supposed to be looking at?
No. Rocks and dirt. Why we call our valley
Rocks and dirt?
Valley.
Oh.
Yeah, very exciting
We'll
stuff.
have to see what's there.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're working our way over to this geographic anomaly. Here it is. There's a big hole in the middle of Hamilton's Hill. Did you know this was here? What do you think about it? Where did it come from? A meteor. That's a good theory. Hey guys, what do you think about it? Huge. Did you know it was here?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did? You're the special one?
I've been here.
What do you think made it?
I sat on one of those cactuses.
A snake.
A snake?
Yeah.
Dang, that's a big snake.
Harry Potter? This is
Oh, the one from Harry Potter.
Earth. Yes. The opening to the Hollow Earth. That's how you get.
Oh, this is how you get to the Hollow Earth.
Yeah,
huh?
because the world's flat. Just jump.
I see your education at Grace High School has not been wasted. That's good.
This is how you get through to the other side. This is a wormhole to the other side of the universe. If you jump,
Oh.
yeah. I think we should all just jump.
All right, guys, give me your best guess. How did this get created?
You know the meteor that killed the dinosaurs?
This was the one that killed the dinosaurs. Oh, not in Mexico. It was this one.
There's two. There were two.
Huh? Ooh, what was that, Ada?
Water or mining.
There's some old Pioneer maps that have listed some geysers down in this area. This might have been formed from a geyser. That's probably the most likely scenario. All right, now tell us what he just explained about the bathtub ring.
So there used to be water here. It used to be filled, and it was part of like the Bonneville Lake. And then it when it slowly diminished, then it created different layers in the valley, so it makes rings. So it's like a bathtub with the rings.
So where do I need to look?
So you look
Out there. So that's the ring where Lake Bonneville used to be. So that was the shore of Lake Bonneville. You can see Panorama Valley. Which means what, Nyler? If we were here during the dawn, what would this be like right now? Yeah, it would be underwater. Cool.
Majority of our product is used for a calcium supplement to feed for cows, chickens, some pigs, but most of it goes, our product goes to feed to animals for nutrition. Especially like milk cows, when you milk a cow, they consume they go through a lot of calcium, so they need to replace that calcium. Our product, our mineral, what we mine, helps the dairy farmers with that, and also like the beef farmers, the beef cows and stuff, they give them a little help. The chicken farms that are here, like Wrightwood Eggs, you're familiar with them, right? No. No? Wrightwood's is on the other side, kind of Franklin as you go to Logan. They buy our product to help for the chickens, for the eggs to be hard and stuff like that. So we'll start off, we'll go over here and we'll kind of show you our plant and the process, how we crush it and everything.
All right, this is the rock they're going to try and guess. Each student can guess to see how much it weighs.
A map of kind of the mines, a lot of different mines that are in Idaho. We have up here a silver mine. This is actually one of the world's largest producers of silver right here in Idaho. It's in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And then does everybody know why they call Idaho the Gem State? Or did you know they call Idaho the Gem State? You're from Grace, you should know that. So why do they call it the Gem State?
There's gemstones.
What's that?
Rubies?
Rubies and stuff. There's a lot of gems in Idaho. There's a specific gem in Idaho that can only be found in 2 places in the world. Do you guys know what that is?
No.
That's right. It's a star granite, right? The Panhandle National Forest is the area where you can find those granite stars and stuff like that. And there's lots of different places you can go. There's a opal mine that's that you can go and you can pay money, and they have an area that you can go and dig and look for gems. It's like $10 a person or something. So it's pretty cool. And those opals are really, really pretty. They have lots of colors. And so that's lots of people come to Idaho looking for that. Mining is, there's a big molybdenum mine in Idaho that produces lots of molybdenum. Does anybody know what molybdenum is used for or what it is? It's they use it a lot to help. Molybdenum will not melt or very easily. It takes really high temperature, and so they'll use it in aircraft engines and stuff like that because it won't break down very easy. And the phosphate mines, does anybody know of any phosphate mines? Monsanto, yeah. Bear now. Idaphos. Yep, those are big. What do they use phosphate for? Fertilizer. Roundup. Yep, that's right. Oh, quartz. Does anybody know what quartz is used for?
Calcite.
What's that?
Countertops.
Countertops. What up? Like glass. Quartz is used to make glass. Pumice. Does anybody know what pumice is?
Oh my gosh. We talked about this. Pumice? We talked about this. Like those.
Come on, Titan. What do you use pumice for? Usually to clean off the calluses off your feet.
Yeah.
You and your sister.
It's baby powder. It starts with an L. What? It starts with an L. Oh.
Pumice is like an abrasive. So it's in Malad. Hess Pumice is the name of that company. They're not too far away.
Oh yeah.
So this is a pumice stone they use for cleaning and stuff.
It's super.
Zeolite, and does everybody know what zeolite's used for? There's a zeolite mine in Glendale, not too far from here, and zeolite is used. It absorbs moisture or water really, really well. And so they'll use it to the hydro seed. A lot of times you see that green is the zeolite, and then to absorb when they'll put it down on bedding and stuff for cows. A lot of times to help absorb the ammonia and some of the smells and stuff like that. Just regular like flagstone or for sidewalks and stuff. Dimension stone mining. There's a lot of mining that's done. That's just that flat top. Do you have a question?
Has anybody been crushed by a rock yet?
No. Do you have a question?
Is this bad for the planet?
No, it's not bad for the planet. We'll talk a little bit about that. That's kind of a common thing. And so the question was, is mining really hard on the environment? We can't live without mining. Everything that we have, all the products we have, are come a lot. There's some kind of mining. Who likes electronics? And cell phones. Yeah, all those silver and the different minerals in that to make those electronic boards and stuff like that. Gold, all those things are used in your electronics and your cell phones.
Tim?
Yeah.
You might mention right at that point about you have to have a plan in place to reclaim everything you mine, don't you?
Yes, we do, and that's good. Thank you for bringing that up. I get ahead of myself. I've got a picture here, and I'll pass this around. So you can see it. There's a before and after picture of the mine. And so everybody can kind of see this. I'll just pass that around. I'll show everybody kind of. That's why they're mining, okay? And then this is after. That's that same picture. After they've reclaimed the ground. And so it used to be years ago when they mined, it got a bad name because they would come in and they would just strip and take everything and then walk away and leave it. And it would leave this open ground with no vegetation and open for erosion and stuff like that. So it would come in, it would just be a big problem. But now as times went on, we've learned we have to take care of what we have. Otherwise, the way before, I guess, was more of a short term of thinking. We'll just take what we need right now and worry about any problems later. But now we understand that if we think about things and we do stuff and then have a plan in place where we can reclaim that ground, we won't have other problems with erosion they've had problems in the past where they come in because the ground's so barren, the rains and stuff, they wash all the sediment and stuff into the rivers, and they cause lots of problems in the ground and everything. So now every mine that starts, they have a mining plan of how they're going to get there, where the ore's at, how they're going to get the ore out, and then they also have a plan that when they're done, how they're going to reclaim that ground.
But take a look at each of these buckets first. I'll hold your jack because we don't want to get it any. It's going to be you might be all dirty before we're done.
This is what goes through the crusher, that hammer mill, okay? Blast the rock, crush it up to this size. That's what comes out of the crusher. Then we screen it out. This is what we call our grit size. That's what they feed a lot to chickens.
That's what I feed my chickens.
And then this is our easy blend. It's kind of a sandy, a feed size.
Chickens eat rocks? Yeah. That's what they eat. Helps with their metabolism. Yeah, that's what they eat.
They grind this stuff lots of times, and some of it gets ground down into that kind of stuff there.
So you go ahead
and we'll wipe your hand off afterward, but just touch it and tell your classmates what it feels like. Go ahead.
You could just stick your hand in it. It won't. It's not bad for you.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, now I want to do it.
Everybody, but no, it's just too messy. What does it feel like?
It feels really soft.
Powdered sugar.
No, softer than powdered sugar.
It's ground down finer than powdered sugar.
Like cinnamon.
I want to touch it.
No,
Yeah,
it's
everybody
just like,
does. We don't want that big a mess. But I'm glad you said what you did when you first touched it. You were surprised at how it really felt. So anyway,
we get it. The finer we get it, the more absorbable it is to the animal. Some of our product is put in liquid cattle feed. Some of you guys remember the company called Lumix. They buy our product and then it's put in there, and they don't want it to settle to the bottom of that molasses they put it with. So we grind it super fine so that it'll stay suspended as best we can in that liquid.
thank you for being a good sport.
Okay, so now we're at the mine, and what we're looking at is them separating out their rocks to different sizes. So that's the limestone right there in the truck. He's going to dump that into the crusher. Once he dumps it into the crusher, it's going to go through there and get sorted. And you see the big rocks rolling down that little waterfall looking thing, and the little vibrating deal right behind it, right there. That separates out the small stuff from the big stuff. The small stuff ends up right there on that pile, and the big stuff ends up right there on that pile, which I think is pretty cool. There he goes. Into the crusher. Pretty neat little mining operation. Okay, so now we're here at the mine, and they're gonna light off an explosion for us. So keep your eyes peeled, focused on this site. It might be a minute. Oh man, I was
that was a weird
Zoomed in on the wrong spot. Well, hopefully one of the kids got a better shot of it than me. Okay, guys, tell me your guess. Brock, what's your guess?
2,000.
2,000 pounds?
3,000.
3.
2,500.
Ooh.
1 ton.
1 ton. That's 2510. Ooh.
1,800.
1,800. Nyler?
The low guess.
What's your guess? 12,000. That's a low guess? You mean 1,200? Sydney? What's your guess? 1 ton. A lot of people have guessed that. Ellery? What's your guess?
My guess is probably about 15,000.
15 what? 15,000? Addie?
It's about like 9,000.
9,000? Okay, we're getting quite a range. 1,200, 9,000. What about you, Macy? 1,000. What'd you guess, Anna?
25 tons.
25 tons. All right.
Isaac.
What about you, Cade? What's your guess, Cade?
My guess?
Yeah.
21,000 pounds.
21,000.
Go big or go home.
You might do one of those things. Okay, well, we'll have to see. Wait, Riley, what'd you guess?
What?
What did you, for the weight?
Oh, I haven't done it yet.
Oh, you haven't done it?
What are you probably like 500,000.
500,000.
I don't know.
I think you're probably close. Okay, our last stop is the McGregor Farm. Mr. McGregor has been so kind in taking us on this field trip and teaching us so much. And now we get to see his little shop where he does the collecting of his rocks and polishing. He does great work.
I like to grind and polish different kinds of rocks. I like to look at the earth and see what I can find and see what I can see when I look there. Now, in my yard, over around the corner of the house, we'll maybe walk over there, one group of us will, and take a look at a big old flat rock. That big old flat rock came off the top of a mountain up here. But in that flat rock, there's some funny little patterns that were made by clamshells crawling around in the mud in the bottom of a shallow ocean.
What did you guess? What was it actually? So you won.
Yes.
Good job. The rest of you guys suck at guessing rock sizes.
I was so off. I want a group of you along the way to lift this rock very carefully.
Oh, these are some pretty rocks.
That one's cool. Think about it.
My grandpa likes to do this with the rocks.
He's done a lot of good work here.
That one's cool.
Yeah, that one's really cool. Oh, those are really pretty.
You'll see a lot of different polished rocks. Rocks are everywhere.
Okay, final thoughts, guys. Are you guys glad you came?
Yeah.
Tell me something you learned.
Don't drink a lot of chocolate milk if it's warm.
Done.
There's a lot of different kinds of rocks.
There's a lot of different kinds of rocks.
I like skipping school.
You like skipping school.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't learn that. You already knew that. Tell me something you learned today.
I don't know.
Come on, Brock. Tell me something you learned today.
Limestone is in
A lot of stuff, huh?
I learned that if you guess the weight of a rock, you get a free hat.
Hey, yes you do. Treasure Canyon.
I learned that like if you carry a 100-pound bag around, you get really, really hot.
That is something to learn.
Yeah. And that Mr. Brady doesn't like snakes on the butt.
Yes, and he's not alone.
Earth science!
Yeah, boy.